going to be doing something a little bit different. A lot of you were asking daycare related questions, so I put out a call for questions daycare related, and I decided to do a Q&A. Now, keep in mind a few things. First of all, I'm still new at the whole daycare thing. I'm 3 months in. I'm not new to childcare. I nannied for a couple years. I was a teacher, you know, stuff like that. But as a business owner of a daycare, I'm pretty new. However, I spent a lot of time researching and coming up with my program and everything like that. Secondly, this video is mostly for those of you who follow our vlogs because you've had so many questions. I do plan on doing specific videos for all of these topics and get more in depth on it, but so many of you had so many questions, I just wanted to address them all now. But I still plan on doing, you know, videos that are more in depth on all these topics for people to find and search for and stuff like that, because I want to help other daycare providers. So I don't expect a ton of people to just watch this, but those of you who follow the vlogs, this may be interesting to you, especially those of you who have the questions. And thirdly, this may be very, very long. I had a hard time. I didn't want to like cut out anything. A lot of you had asked really good questions, and so I didn't want to like not include any questions, but I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because I will be going in depth on these more, and I kind of just categorize the questions. I'm not going to say who asked the questions because so many of you asked multiple questions or asked questions that other people asked, so I just like copy and pasted the questions and kind of categorized it. So just keep that in mind when you're watching. So we're going to jump right in. The first category I'm going to talk about is like curriculum and my philosophy and stuff like that, and scheduling. A lot of people were wondering about my philosophy. I have talked about how I'm play-based. Basically, when I was doing a lot of research, I listened to the Childcare Bar and Grill, which I'll link below, which talks a lot about play-based learning and developmentally appropriate practice. It's a podcast. If you're familiar with Lisa Murphy, the Ooey Gooey lady, that she's part of that, as well as Danita Dinger, who has a play-based preschool, and then Jeff A. Johnson and his wife Tasha, who are retired now, but they had a play-based daycare as well. I got a lot of my inspiration from that, as well as just, to me, it's common sense that kids learn through play, and I was a teacher as well. I was a middle school teacher, but I did a lot of education classes on learning, and to me it just makes plain sense that kids learn through play. Why else would they play so much if it wasn't good for them? It's how we're wired. So that's kind of my philosophy. I don't subscribe necessarily to one train of thinking. That's just because I haven't done a lot of research on like Montessori or Reggio or, you know, whatever they are. But I just, the basic knowledge is, I would say I go a lot with those. And that leads me into my curriculum. I do use a curriculum, but I don't like adhere to it strictly. When you have a multi-age group, there's only so much you can do. If I had a only preschoolers or only infants or whatever, I think I could do a lot more specifically catered to that age group, but because it's a multi-age group, I have to work with the whole group. So we do stuff every day, but we don't spend our whole day like structured, if that makes sense, and I'll get more into our schedule as well. But basically, I use GWHIZ, GEEWHIZ curriculum. I found it on the NAFCC, I believe that's the National Association for Family Childcare, their website. It's very developmentally appropriate. They go with Piaget, I think Reggio's on there, Montessori, like a whole slew of, you know, psychologists and stuff like that. They use that methodology for putting together the curriculum. It's affordable. It's, I think, like $15 a month, and it's all online. You print out like the teacher packet. They give you stuff to print out for like games and activities. Right now we're learning about the planets, and so my thing is like, I think about what my kids are interested in. If I didn't think they'd be interested in whatever theme it is, we wouldn't do it. So we have skipped some. And we've gone a couple weeks where we just didn't do that. We just did our own thing. But But right now, they really love the planets. Like, it's super interesting. And, like, if I introduced it to them and they didn't like it, we probably wouldn't continue. So I try to do stuff my kids are really excited about, and they love the planets. So we have a little puppet named Annie who helps teach them. We sing songs. We have stories. I looked on Pinterest as well for different crafts, like, and I don't do crafts where they all look the same. I don't really believe in that. I think that would be me doing everything. I'm very process oriented. So we did like a shaving cream thing where they help put the shaving cream in and the paint and move it all around, and then we put circles in to make planets, and then I let them just kind of go crazy and decorate it however they wanted. But we talked about how that looks like a planet, and we compared them to the ones that I have on our windows because I put pictures up. Anyway, so it's very process play oriented. There's no like one way they're supposed to do everything, but I try to introduce things that are fun and, you know, different sensory experiences and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful. I will do a whole video on my planning and craft ideas and stuff like that eventually. I'm just trying to get the way my videos right now are laid out is like the front end of starting your daycare. Like, here's my daycare tour, here's policies, here's, you know, stuff like that. And then I'm going to get into more of like what our day looks like. I may even do like a day in the life vlog of like, this is what we're doing now, and then here and here, not showing the kids, but just to show you guys like what we do in a typical day. Let's see. I also have a Zumba instructor who's, she just goes around to daycares teaching kids Zumba. And she's like registered, or I didn't even know that was a thing, but she does that. And we also have a music teacher, so I have basically 2 Zumba classes, 2 music classes a month. They do a lot of play-based stuff with puppets and parachutes and shakers and all kinds of stuff, and it's great fun. And that's kind of my day off from planning. We may still do a craft or something, but it you know, it takes up that, and the kids love it. For my schedule, okay, so I'm very flexible within like the playtime of the day, but very strict on like lunch, nap. You know, I think kids need a routine, but they also need freedom to explore and create and learn and stuff like that. So my schedule, I'm open, I'm changing my hours, so right now I'll just tell you what it would be when my schedule changes. So I'll be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And our day is kind of loose in the beginning. Kids come. If they've all eaten breakfast, we usually don't go up and eat breakfast. If some of them haven't eaten breakfast, we'll go up. Those who have already eaten breakfast and aren't hungry will play table games at the table. I have little bags, like busy bags with puzzles and matching games and all kinds of stuff in them. And then the other kids will eat. Then we'll come down. We'll usually do our circle time, which is, I don't make the kids be involved in, but my kids love it. We sing songs. I'll probably do a whole video on like what we sing and what we talk about. And we do that for as long as they're interested in. Once the kids start just going off and playing, we just kind of fizzle out and we're done with circle time. But if we go the full amount, we'll usually read books at the end, and I sometimes let them pick. Sometimes I'll introduce a new book that kind of goes with what we're talking about. And we'll sometimes like pick a letter and try to find words that start with that letter. Kind of, it's very flexible. I'm very flexible with it. I don't want the kids to think it's like this rigid structured thing, because I want it to be fun. I want learning to be fun. And that's kind of the time the kids might say like, oh, Sarah, can we do this or can we do that? So we'll do that. We might color, we may go outside, play, go for a nature walk, play chalk. I mean, it kind of varies. So a lot of the later morning is just up in the air. We might just do free play. We may do singing. You know, it really just depends. So and then around what time? We go upstairs between 11 to 11:30 to get ready for lunch. I have the kids watch TV. That's the only time they get to pick whoever's the line leader. We usually watch Octonauts on Netflix or PJ Masks on YouTube. That's what they're into right now. They don't see any commercials or anything like that. It's usually 20 minutes or less is the goal while I make lunch. And then we have lunch. We listen to music. I just have a preschool Pandora we listen to while we eat lunch. Then after lunch, while I'm cleaning up, I have a YouTube playlist, a dance playlist of all like preschool dance songs that they go into the living room and they dance to while I clean up. So they're kind of getting their energy out. They're learning songs, and it's not like a sedentary thing. and that allows me to get the kitchen cleaned up. And then we go downstairs. I have the kids who go to the bathroom go to the bathroom. The kids in diapers, I change their diaper. I let the dog out. And then we all sit. We read 2 books usually. And then we get all their sleeping bags out and everything. Get them down. And then we have nap from about 1 to 3. Then I wake them up, or they're up, depending. We have snack. And then it's free play till the end of the day, usually. So that's my schedule. Somebody asked, I have a few pretty little children. What do you do to keep your little ones entertained? I have 3 kids that are 4 kids that have just turned 2 or are under 2. So I have a pretty young group. 2 are older than 2. I have 1 3-year-old and 1 4-year-old. So I have 6 kids. 4 of them are pretty young. So what I usually do is try to pick crafts that the almost 2-year-olds or 2-year-olds and up can do. And then the infant and Celia I'll have something else that they can do, or I'll have them like in a pen or contained away, next to us, but like can't get into everything we're doing. That's what I usually do. Still figuring out ways to do this, and a lot of this has to just do with my setup. Once we're in our basement, which I hope to do, there'll be more area for them to be separated, but still like can be involved, but not like getting into everything. So it's hard. It is hard with the multi-age groups. I'm still looking for more things. My infant is 6 months. There's not much she can do yet. She's not like sitting or anything. She just rolled over. So but Celia really is my hardest one, because she wants to be involved but is not ready yet to be involved. I try to do some things, but she ends up still putting it in her mouth, or so still learning on that front. So now, as far as like nap time and like household chores, somebody asked, what do you do when the kiddos are napping? I feel like I never know what to do with myself. I get a ton done during nap. I try to clean one room in the house. Usually it's on our main floor, so the kitchen, living room, or dining room. I do things like bill paying, I edit videos, I make calls for appointments or whatever I have to do. It's basically like my to-do list. I'm usually on my computer doing something. So yeah, I try to fully take advantage of that time, because that is my break time, and it's also my time, like, I try to get as much daycare related stuff, or like household, like home management type of stuff done during that time, because I don't have kids awake. So I'm trying to like get a lot done so I don't have to do it at night. I don't know if that really helps, but that's what I do. Do you do your laundry or household chores, or do you wait until the kids leave for the day? Yes and no. I do them during. I usually start a load of laundry at the beginning of the day before the kids get here, and then I'll throw it in the dryer while the kids are here. And then I'll either pull it out and fold it during nap, or sometimes the kids love like playing this game of like, whose shirt is this? And they'll say Sam's or Sarah's or Celia's, and we'll say what color it is or what pattern is on it. Like, they love that, and they love helping me fold. And I think it's great for kids to learn. If they were home with their parents, they would be doing the same thing, and I try to offer a lot of that kind of stuff to kids. Kids love so many things, so I don't feel like I'm not doing my job with the kids. We're talking about things that they need to know to prepare for life, and they love it, so it's kind of a win-win. I don't usually like vacuum when they're here. I will steam mop the dining room and kitchen on Fridays while they're doing their dance party, but it doesn't take very long. I clean up the kitchen after every meal and try to really keep that clean. I'll sometimes sweep if I have time while they're doing like their dance party, or if they're, doing a craft or something that's kind of more independent. And then I will Lysol wipe a lot of the toys when I have like 1 or 2 kids at the end of the day, and sometimes they'll help me. They love to help. But yeah, as far as that kind of thing, yeah, I do stuff during the day. That's one of the benefits of being home, and I'm not ashamed, and I would have no problem with my parents knowing that I do that. I think anybody would if they were home. But I'm never like neglecting the kids to do it. It's all either while they're doing something, or I'm getting them involved in it, or they're asleep. This is a really good question. Looking after others' children plus your own in your home can be very stressful and lonely. Do you crave adult conversation during your workday? Yes and no. One of the really awesome things about my job and my husband's job is that he works random hours, so he's home a lot during daycare hours. Like he might work really early and then come home around nap time, so we have the afternoon when he's here, or he may go in a little later and then come home later, but he's there in the morning, or he might have his day off during the week when I'm open. So I see him a lot. And then one thing that's been really helpful for me is in our area, we have a local provider's private Facebook group. So if the kids are doing something, I can pop in on that and ask a question or kind of see what other people are up to. And that really has helped. And that's where I found, like, I have a really close group of friends now that are all providers who we try to get together once a month when it's not super busy. And so, no, I don't really get lonely yet. But I try to be proactive. I call my friends a lot during the week, like after hours, and try to keep in touch with them. So I haven't gotten to that point. I'm only 3 months in though, so I don't know. And I am kind of a homebody. I like being home. And I think it really does help too that our house has different levels. So I'm not like stuck in one area all day. We're like taking the infants up way upstairs. I might grab something out of the basement, like for lunch, and then we're on the main floor, and it doesn't feel like we're just stuck. And then in the nice weather, we can go outside, we can go to the parks, meet up with other daycares, that kind of thing. So I really try to be proactive because I don't want to burn out, and I know how easy it is to burn out, so I try to make sure that I'm being proactive on the front end so that doesn't happen to me. Okay, and then the next series of questions has to do with like policies and parents. How do you handle difficult parents? I hate confrontation. Me too. I'm still figuring this out. I've learned over the years I'm best at being firm in writing, which I don't know. I think it's best to be direct with your parents, but I have a hard time doing that, so I usually try to like send out an email or a text or something. But I'm just learning to just, enforce everything as much as I can, and I only put policies into place that I'm willing to enforce, and I look at it as I have to do what's best for my family first, and that kind of motivates me to get a kick in the butt that I need to say things that I'm not too comfortable saying. And I guess my biggest thing is I was very strategic on the front end to make sure that when parents interview with me and on my website and stuff, I'm very clear that I'm a professional. This is a business. It will be run as a business. I tell that to my parents in the interviews. I say, I have to do what's best for my family and my group, and I have to run it as a business. And I think parents really get that when I say that. And I tell them that this is my home, and, I have to have boundaries for the business and my home and things like that. And I think being really forthright about that and during the interview helps me to avoid stuff like that. And I'm very picky about what families I take. But we also live in an area, well, Minnesota in general there's so much going on with our government. They're so anti-small business and so anti-family childcare, which is very annoying. So there's a huge shortage of providers in Minnesota, especially my area. I don't know all areas, but there have been thousands who have closed their doors in our state because policies are becoming so strict as far as regulations and stuff like that. So that puts me in kind of a interesting place where I can be very picky because there are way more parents that need care than there are providers who can provide care, which sucks for the parents. But it allows me to only accept parents who I think are amazing fit, and if not, they can go somewhere else, which I feel bad saying, but, I look out for my family and my group first, and then the individual families. What is your illness policy, and are you strict with it? I haven't really had to be strict with it because my parents have just been like, my kid's sick, we're going to stay home. I have closed once due to Celia throwing up and me being pretty sick. I don't get paid on those days, so it kind of sucks, but, I want to make sure I'm not spreading stuff to the kids as well. So, I haven't been strict with it yet because I haven't had to be. But, you know, I think you just got to do it. You got to, if this is what you say your policy is, you say your kid's sick, you got to go. And make sure your parents have some kind of backup plan in those cases. It's not your responsibility to find them backup care. If they want to enroll their child in daycare, then they need to have some kind of backup plan for when their kid gets sick, because it's inevitable. Even if they're not in daycare, they're going to get sick. And you're a business and you're looking out for the health of your group. And that's where parents, I think, forget, is you have a group of kids. You don't want one kid getting every kid sick. So you really have to look out for your group first. And then, you know, I mean, I feel bad too sending kids home. I would feel bad, but, you know, I would feel responsible to take Celia home if she was in daycare. And I think you just got to do it. You just got to buck up and just start doing it, and then parents will get it. But if you're letting them walk over you, then in their eyes that's okay. But I think once you start enforcing your rules, then they'll get it and they'll stop trying to take advantage of you. I have a couple parents that ask me to watch their little ones very late and even on weekends. How do you handle telling them no without hurting their feelings? Okay. There's like rational Sarah who can just be direct, and then there's like emotional Sarah who would feel the exact same way. But as a friend, I would say, don't feel bad. That's not your responsibility. How is them putting that guilt on you your responsibility? They're their children, not yours. I would tell them probably, look, to stay in business long term, I need time to myself to recover. Watching 10 kids, 5 kids, however many kids is stressful and hard work, and I need time with my family. You need to have backup care if you need late nights or weekends. You need to find a different daycare perhaps, or have family watch, but no, this is time for my family and I need this. These are my hours. You need to figure out something else. I think what I've learned from a lot of other providers is they'll come to you first because that's easiest, but it's funny how when you say no, oh, magically grandma can watch them or whatever. So I would just say, I would usually say it through writing. If they came to me and asked me, I would probably say, let me think about it. That's something I learned from other providers too. Don't answer on the spot. Give yourself some time to think about it, because you'll probably say yes if you answer right away. But say, let me think about it. I'll text you tonight or something like that. And then that night I would say, you know, I talked to my husband and I thought about it and we made plans, or, you know, we're going to have family time that night. So sorry, wish I could help, but I can't. And I do well through writing. So that would be what I would do. And I would just say, these are my hours. This is the contract you signed. I never agreed to late night and weekends. And they'll probably be able to find something else, or maybe they could spend time with their kids instead of putting them off, depending on what the situation is. How would you handle a lingering parent? I have one that likes to hang out even after my closing time. I would maybe just text them in the morning and be like, just letting you know I have to run and get groceries right at 5. So I would make it sound like I'm sending it to all the parents, or I would put it on my private Facebook group, just letting you know everybody needs to be out by 5. Or I would maybe just put like a general thing on there saying, you know, people have been coming early, like make stuff up. Maybe they're not coming early, but you're trying to not single out that family, and say, you know, people have been coming early or staying after my closing time. These are my hours. I need all people out by this time, not arriving at this time. And, you know, if they're there, I might say, if you're closed at 5:30 and they're there at 5:20, I would say, okay, Johnny, gotta go. I close in 10 minutes, you know, or Sarah's gotta go make dinner. Have a good night, and kind of push them out the door. I'm sorry, but you need to be strict and you just need to do it. And once you start doing it, I think they'll get the picture. You mentioned in your fertility video about wanting another child and taking maternity leave. How long of a maternity leave are you looking at taking, and what are the options for the families during that time? If you care for their children for a long period of time and all of a sudden you shut down for 6, 8, 12 weeks, are you worried about losing them as a customer because they'll need care during that time? Like I said, we're in a unique situation where tons of people need care. So what I did is I have a policy in my handbook that the parents read and sign. That's saying that they read the handbook, so if they don't read it, that's not my fault, but they signed it. But I have a thing in there about my maternity leave saying that I can take up to 12 weeks. Do I plan on taking 12 weeks? No, I'll probably take 6 to 8 weeks. But I just put it in there just in case, the next baby, knock on wood, is in NICU, or I have a really hard time recovering or whatever. And I think what I would probably do, I would tell them as soon as I'd probably tell them about 12 weeks, so I know, like, they're not trying to find backup care and then I have a miscarriage, God forbid, or whatever. And then that would still give them, I delivered Celia. I was induced at 41 weeks, so chances are I'll probably be pregnant a long time for the next one. And, that way they have about, 6 months to find something. I would give them names of providers in the area. The nice thing is all of my families work at a hospital that offers backup care. And so knowing that far ahead in advance, they could probably get in. I know a lot of them have used it in between daycares and stuff like that for a couple months. So it's not something I'm really worried about. And yes, I could lose families, but I could find more families. I'm not worried about it. I'm in an area where there's lots of families that need care. So, and honestly, I got into this business first and foremost for my family. If I didn't have kids and I didn't have a family, I wouldn't be doing this job. So that's my number one priority, and I want to make sure when, I'm going to say when because I hope we get pregnant, when we have another child, I'm going to want time to bond with that child, and it's very hard. I had a hard recovery. I could barely move the first couple weeks and a hard time healing. I'm not just going to bring kids back in here after a week. I think that would emotionally be horrific for me. I have a past with postpartum depression. So I'm going to look out for me first and my family so that I can be the best provider I can be when the kids return. So hopefully that answers that question. Is there a form of technology you use to communicate and show the parents of your children what you do each day? Yes. I have a private Facebook group that I try to post on every day. I'll post pictures. I'll post little funny things like how we have a duck that says Aflac, 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 and I said if your kids come home saying something that sounds like the F word, I promise that's not what they're saying, and like they laugh and they comment and they love it. I also, if one of their kids does something really sweet or funny, I'll just text that parent throughout the day. And then my infants, I have one infant, I do a half sheet that I found online that just says like diaper changes, feeding, napping, and I just fill that out and give it to them at the end of the day. So that's the main things I do. I was looking into like the Bright Wheel app, or there's the Tadpoles app, but I don't know that all my parents would look at that, and I don't know. I like what we're doing, and I like that all the parents see it, and I don't want to feel like the parents think I'm going to give them like this huge list of things their specific child did every day, because when I get a couple more kids in here, I don't want to spend all my time on my phone, obviously. I want to be playing with the kids. So I think this is a good balance for me. Have you ever come across a family that was uncomfortable with having a male around their children? I absolutely love having strong male role models for children, and the kids love it as well, but lately there seem to be many parents that don't want a male involved with daycare, unfortunately. Honestly, this was a worry of mine. Knowing Sam would be home all the time, I was kind of worried that parents might be like, oh my gosh. But I have him at all the interviews, and I tell parents, I want you to feel comfortable with my husband. He's been around kids. He loves kids. He's a great dad. He was around the kids I nannied. And I have all these pictures now of the daycare kids like sitting on his lap. They love him, adore him. They're always like, "Where's Sam?" So I try to just be very upfront, and I've had no issues, honestly. No parent has ever like said anything. In the interviews, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's great to meet you," And I have all, families with a mother and father figure, so I think they see the benefit of it, and I don't know. Sam's a very nice, easy to get along with guy. I don't think he seems shady, I guess. I don't know. But I haven't run into that. But, if a family was worried about that, they'd have to go somewhere else. I'm not kicking my husband out of our house. Like if he's off work, I'm not going to send him out. So, yeah, and I think the fact that I'm always here is reassuring. And I don't know. I just come off as very professional, and I try to treat my business is very professional, and I think the parents get that they're not going to be like in weird situations with my husband. I don't know. That's a awkward thing to talk about, but I get where parents would be worried about that with stuff in the news and stuff, but I think, I think we just come off as average people just like our clients, so it's just not something we've had to deal with. How did you advertise? How long did it take you to begin setting interviews, and have you had to turn down any families that just didn't fit? If so, how did you approach that? So most of my advertising was on a parent-provider Facebook group in our area, and I direct them to my website. I also advertise on Craigslist, care.com, and then our local Family Child Care Association's website. I had to pay to be part of that, but a lot of parents check that. And then just word of mouth. There were 2 daycares that closed about a block away from me. They referred me. And then just being involved in our community through church. I've met other providers through that who have referred me. So yeah, honestly, it was very easy for me. I had over 30 people contact me. So yeah, I had to turn away a lot of people. But what I do during interviews is say, let me know if you're interested in enrolling. And I just tell them, I have a lot of people I'm interviewing for this one spot. And then, after the interview, I'll pick, from those who tell me they're interested. So I think, if somebody's not a good fit, I would just say, sorry, I went with this other family. I think, even if you don't have 10 people interviewing, I would just tell them you have a few. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to burn any bridges. So, and I would just say, unfortunately, can't provide care for you. Here's some other providers in the area, or here's where you can call, or whatever. But yeah, I don't think I had to send out very many of those, because mostly people, some were pregnant, and I told them I'm taking an infant right now, so that spot's filled. Or I just said, I don't know. I didn't really have to tell too many people no, but I think I would just word it in a way that sounds like I'm just going with somebody else. There were a lot of applicants. I just had to take, the one that was best for my group. Sorry, I wish you luck. What do you do that helps you feel like a professional? I feel like the childcare field is really lacking in teachers and providers being respected as people that have chosen this field. Does that make sense? Yes. That makes sense, and that was something I was worried about, so I tackled it on the front end. I have a very, very professional looking website I put together on Wix.com. I stress in the interviews that I'm a professional. This is my chosen profession. I'm not a babysitter. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm a work-from-home mom. And I tell them, I created a program that I would want for my daughter. And I am play-based, and I show the research supporting that. I have binders. Everybody's commented on how organized I am. And I just, I try to run the show as a professional, so I come off as professional. I wear normal clothes during the day. I try to put myself together somewhat, but obviously I'm playing with kids, but I don't just roll out of bed and have pajamas on. I don't know. And I'm just I show the parents what we're doing every day, so they know, okay, we're not just sitting around watching cartoons. I don't know how to answer this. I don't want to sound arrogant, because I'm not, but I don't know how I come across. I've never been somebody else talking to me, but I know even as a teacher, when I was terrified my first year of teaching, and I had all these parents who were twice my age coming to me, I just put on this aura of confidence and professionalism, and people were like, oh my gosh, so nice to meet you, did so well, wow, you're so brave and confident and professional. I had other teachers being like, how do you talk to parents like that? And I was like, I don't know, I'm terrified, but I just pretend I know what I'm talking about, and that I'm confident. So I think you just have to say, I'm a professional, and don't wait for them to guess that about you. Just put that out there, and act professional, dress professional as you can, keep your house tidy, and just maybe have a name for your daycare. I have a name for my daycare. I have a website with that name. It's on our contract. My contract's very professional. you know, I just try to run it as a business because it is, and I think that really helps. So if you're not there yet and parents aren't treating you that way and you've already started, I would just maybe rehaul everything, like overhaul it and put a website up and kind of, you know, change your space around to make it feel more professional. And I don't know, and just, you know, you have to demand respect in order to get respect. You can't just be meek. If there's a parent treating me disrespectfully or treating me like I wasn't professional in the interview, I wouldn't enroll them. It's as simple as that. I had a couple parents being like, you take paid days off and you have an enrollment fee? I've never heard of that. And they were just pretty rude to me. So I was like, told Sayon after they left, I was like, yep, not enrolling them, because they're not seeing it as a business. They would look at me as like a stay-at-home mom. So I just wouldn't enroll them, honestly. Lastly, my daycare gives details on diapers, changes, feedings, and nap each day. Is that required or up to the provider? I don't know about every other state, but Minnesota, no, it's not required. I do that for the infants. I just wanted to make sure I answered all of your questions, so hopefully some of you stuck through to the end. Let me know if there's anything you want me to go into more detail about, either that was mentioned or wasn't mentioned in this video, and I'll add it to my list of specific daycare related videos I'm going to do. I have like a whole page list of ones already, and I'm trying to do about one a month because we like to provide other content to you guys as well. We're not a daycare glue channel, marital glue, but that is definitely something I like to share about, and I want to help other providers. So there's that. I would also highly encourage you to read Tom Copeland's books and connect with people in your area. I think that's the best way for getting answers to questions, because every area is different. Every area does things different and has different, you know, norms that the providers do. So that would be my advice. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please like if you're new to my channel and you've made it this far. We do daily vlogs Monday through Friday. And we try to do content videos throughout the week, usually on Mondays. We do a bi-weekly Marital Glues Day video where we talk about all things marriage related. That's every other Tuesday. And yeah, we're just pretty busy people, but we like to share with you guys, and we just really want to help make the world a better place in things that are interesting to us. So please subscribe if you like any of this stuff, and you'll see a lot more of us. And in the vlogs, I also include a lot of like little daycare tips and ideas and show things that I'm doing. So look for those too if that's something that's interesting to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.